We get lots of calls asking, which bracket do you recommend? Well, there are so many different brackets and so many different manufacturers, it's impossible for us to recommend a particular bracket. Some of the brackets, in my opinion, they don't take certain factors of a slate or a tile roof into consideration. With this bracket, I can't see how it can possibly be fixed to a rafter and then flashed around. So I can only assume it's got to be drilled through the roof, which is definitely a no-no. This one, the elbow isn't deep enough. Even using shims or packings to take this away so that you can get underneath this bracket, you need that many packings that it brings this into the roof. So consequently, you're flashing from up here. This one, it is possibly for a tile roof. This bolt is an extension, so this thing can move out here, giving a bigger gap. But I wouldn't attempt to use this on a slate roof because the depth of the batten and the slates does not come above this. So consequently, that is in the roof. And it's necessary to flash from there to there instead of from there to there. This bracket, for a slate roof, you have the same problem as you have with this, except it's wider. And this area here usually comes into the roof. If this bracket was fixed to that rafter, this is into the roof. So it will be necessary to cut this slate and possibly keep cutting it, weakening it. If the rafter was in a different position, it gets worse. This one does exactly the same. It's into the roof. Consequently, bigger cuts around your slates, and it just weakens the slate, makes life difficult. What I believe the manufacturers have attempted to do is to keep the bracket as close as possible to the roofing material to make it easier to do the flashing. Where in actual fact, that's the danger. If this is touching the roofing material, it makes the roofing material load bearing. Any movement in the panels, the rails will move this. Consequently, there'll be movement between the flashing and the slates. It would need to be packed off at least to there. That's bringing this into the roof. Whereas if the design was different, we wouldn't need all that trouble. This particular bracket has a 50mm elbow from the rafter to the drop. And without any flashing whatsoever in there, just to emphasize, that's actually what you're flashing. When you've got an elbow that brings the bracket away from the roofing material, it's then allowed to move. And it just makes everything so much easier. The brackets on the market at the moment appear to have been designed for a perfect world scenario for the top of a roof. But because of the distance between the face of the roofing material and the top of the rafter being much bigger at the bottom than it is at the top, it's at the bottom of the roof that you really struggle. All roofs have to be packed at the bottom so that the next course will sit on top without kicking. It has to sweep, and all roofs sweep up as this is. This one is from the bottom of that to there is 85mm to the top of the rafter. 400mm up here, it's 75mm. So in 400mm, we've lost 10mm. As you keep going, it will gradually lose another 10 until it's lying flat. This bracket, in some aspects of the roof, in some areas where the rafter lands in a particular place, I can make that work. The same goes for all the brackets that you've seen today. To attempt to put those into the roof, in some aspects they would work, but there's certain places where the rafter might land, and even I would struggle. I've designed a plain tile bracket that overcomes all these problems. I'm currently working with bracket manufacturers, and I'm keen to work with many more to develop a plain tile bracket which can be made available to all installers.